What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Inside D3 show that gives you an inside look at Division III's finest student athletes, coaches, faculty, and staff. I'm your host, Morgan Cheatham. Thank you guys again for joining us, whether it's your first time or your 100th time. We appreciate it nonetheless. Be sure to follow us on our website at InsideD3.com. You can check out our latest story on some of the Division III athletes that have recently signed NFL contracts. It's written by my guy Sam, so definitely be sure to check that out. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. Our Twitter and Instagram are at D3Inside. Our Facebook is Inside D3. Our YouTube is Inside D3 Athletics. And you can watch all of our videos on there as they drop. If you don't want to see my pretty face every week, you can check out our podcast on iTunes, Anchor, and Spotify. All of our episodes will be out on there as well, so you can listen to them whenever you like. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Today we are joined by Krissica Harper. She is the student academic planner at Concordia University of the American Southwest Conference. She does a lot of other things that we'll get into later on in the show, but thank you for joining us, Krissica, and how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm doing great. So, one of the first questions I want to ask you today is to give me a summary of, your journey to where you are right now. So, give me some background on your education, work experience, and then I heard you got a little bit of game on the court too. So, talk about your playing experience too.
Yeah, I got a little bit. So I'm at Concordia University Texas, which is in Austin, Texas. So I am in Texas, and I'm an academic planner. And so what that means, some students or some universities call it academic advising. So similar to academic advising, we are working with students, helping them choose the appropriate classes, making sure they get through and matriculate through the university. And of course, even through classes, even with classes, they're talking to me about a wide variety of things. So whether it's time management, and we're at Concordia, we kind of do a holistic development, and so I'm talking with them about quite a few different things.
Gotcha. Okay, so about your role as a student academic planner, how are you able to assist students on campus, and what's that process?
hmm And so I oversee, or my student population is arts and sciences, as well as, of course, theater and music is within that. And so I'm with them quite often in terms of one-on-one. I do some other programming as well through Generation One program that we have and a Developing Scholars program that we have. And so I'm involved quite a bit around campus. So I try to connect them with as many resources as I can.
Gotcha. So, do you take any different approaches with the student athletes that you may work with, or is it sort of the
hmm
same process?
hmm I think the difference with student athletes for me is that time. They're committed to a sport, and that sport can range upwards of 20, 25 hours plus sometimes depending on what you're doing, whether you're working out or even doing your individual stuff. But with them, it's a lot of focus on time, number one, number two, identity,
Hmm.
the other areas and skill sets that they have. And so I try to talk to them a lot about, hey, what else are you doing outside of your sport? Just the little micro conversations, whether it's, hey, do you want to come to this event on campus? Has nothing to do with athletics. Hey, do you want to come to see this speaker? Or hey, come with me. I want to introduce you to somebody. So just trying to put other people in their lives besides their coach. And sometimes coach is like a mom or coach is like a father, and they've been doing that for so long. So I think I work on trying to introduce them to other people and other ideas, and introduce them to other concepts and other talents, other interests that they may not even know they have. And so that's how I try to differentiate my approach with the student athletes.
Talk about how important that is, because I feel like
Yeah.
having those connections and even just getting experience in a lot of different things is huge in terms of learning what you want to do. So,
Yeah. I think for me, it's so important, man. I tell people all the time. I changed my major twice, and when I was about to change it again, my dad was like, "That's it. You gotta get, you gotta get out of there. That's enough." But you play a sport. I played my sport for so long. I played basketball for 15 years of my life, And after I got out of college, I was still very unsure about who Krissica was outside of basketball. So my nickname is Spoon. My person I look up to, and the woman that I adore and who really introduced me to wanting to play professionally was Teresa Witherspoon. When I saw her hit that half court shot at 19, I think was it 99, I believe. And when I saw her do that, that's all I wanted to do. That's all I wanted to become. I wanted to do that. I wanted to play that sport. I wanted to be like her. And that still lasted even after I got out of college. And so it took me from 2013, I honestly would say up until last year, even after graduate school, that I was trying to figure Krissica out, her other skill sets, her other talents. And I think I had that journey so I can help student athletes with that journey now. But no one really talked to me about other things. They may say, do some other things, or introduce yourself to other people outside of sport. They may say that, but there was no accountability to that. And so it took me a while to figure out purpose and passion and skills and gifting and calling. And so now I want student athletes to just recognize that sooner so they can have the confidence to venture out into other things.
For sure. So I want to know how you got the nickname Spoon, and then
Yeah.
I also want to know, also, how were you able to figure that out for yourself? If you didn't
Yeah.
have a lot of those resources that you may give to people now.
Yeah. How I figured it out. Wow. After I graduated from college, it was the move home, the things that you really don't want to do. You don't really want to,
Hmm.
want to go back home and live with mom. And did some social work type work after undergrad, which was working at a youth care facility in my hometown. And so I thought I wanted to get into social work. And so that was my first kind of stepping out in terms of, okay, let me try to see if I like working with students, which I always did, but let me see if I really want to work with students or do some type of social work. And so I stepped out and I did that, fell in love with it. But what really caused me was chaos, like the chaos of your mind, that your chaos of your emotions, confusion in terms of where you're going. And chaos kind of pushed me out to venture out into doing other things. Anger pushed me out, confusion, depression, just not knowing what to do. Because I can't say it was a person necessarily. I can't say it was an aha moment. It was confusion and chaos. And for me, as a person of faith, now I'm going into prayer like, God, I have no idea what's about to happen. You gave me a gift of basketball, and that gift didn't work out like I thought it was going to work out. So what's going to happen now? So
Yeah.
it was all of that in prayer. And then I had an experience at an event where I was just talking to some students, and a lady walked up to me and was like, "Hey, Krissica, I've heard a couple of things about you. I would love for you to come talk to my students." And I'm like, okay. And so I went and talked to the group of kids, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. And so the chaos and the confusion and the prayer and me just being in the right place at the right time really pushed me into now working with students and in education.
Yeah. I think it's so weird, that transition is kind of what I feel like maybe 90 or more percent of the student athletes that, come out of D3 got to deal with.
Yeah,
Even me personally, I've dealt with it as well. I just
yeah,
graduated last May, so
yeah,
I'm still in that transitional phase where I was like,
yeah,
committed to track so much, and now it's like,
yeah.
okay, now it's time to figure out, what's next, and what some of my interests are. So
Right,
it's definitely a process I think everybody can relate to that's in this realm of sport for sure.
right, right.
I want to talk a little bit about some of your other roles on campus.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about, what other things you're doing over there at Concordia University.
Yes. So the power of Division III university, just like with the student athletes, I think it's the same with staff members. You're able to do other things outside of just one. And we're a smaller institution. So I'm a part of a developing scholars program, which is for incoming freshmen. And the students that are in that program, we've identified are Pell Grant eligible. They may be students of color. They may show that they need some academic assistance. They're coming in academically underprepared. And so they fill out an application, and that's kind of how they get in. We select them based on that. And that has just been a blessing. I'm so grateful to serve those students. We meet once a week, and a lot of workshops and development in terms of their social and emotional learning, time management, study habits, learning skills, all of those things that you want a student to have. We do that every single week. And for them to also have a community as well when they're entering into the university. So that's been a blessing. I'm able to do that. I am the campus advisor for Fellowship of Christian Athletes. That is an amazing blessing, being able to help those students with their identity and purpose and what God has called them to do as well. Also, a part of a program called Gen 1 and serving Gen 1 students, first generation students. So that's been a blessing. We serve from freshman all the way up to senior. So it's all classifications. And so those are a couple of things that I'm doing, and I'm always kind of bouncing around like, hey, who needs what y'all need, I can come, what Krissica's available. And so it's been a blessing to be a part of all of those programs, and I truly love just the holistic development of students. And then on the student athlete side, a lot of my population of students that I serve are student athletes. So I have over 100 student athletes that I work with just within my population. So we don't have academic advisors that are specifically focused on student athletes. We all have them within our population. So I serve over 100 student athletes, and recently formed a student athlete task force at Concordia. And so we're looking to really grow that and make sure that we're doing the best we can to help our student athletes be successful.
It's awesome for sure.
Yeah.
So I know you're involved in a lot of things outside of campus as well. I know
Hmm.
you have the Court 31 project,
Yeah.
sorry, and things
Yeah.
like that. So talk a little bit about some of your outside involvements as well.
Yeah, so Core 31, I got that name and number from the scripture in the Bible, Proverbs 31, being a Proverbs 31 woman. And a lot of people talk about that scripture in a way that's focused on how to be a Proverbs 31 wife, but it has a lot of characteristics in it on just how to be a strong woman and a strong young lady and a strong girl. And so I want to use basketball as a conduit to introducing some of those concepts to girls and through basketball. And so that's been exciting. So we have girls in the program, and we're working on their spiritual development, of course, their athletic talent. They're coming to Core 31 first because of basketball, and then also professional development. So those are the three areas that we work with them on. So that's been exciting. So I have about 10 high school girls in the program right now. So between my full-time job, I'm not able to devote a lot of time to it, but I have a solid 10 girls right now who I'm working with one-on-one on those concepts. And so that's exciting. And then I also have Faith and Grades, I think that you read about on my
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
yeah.
And so it's an initiative where we connect under-resourced males, specifically African American males, with local barbers to improve their behavior in the classroom and also their academic performance. And so, as you know, I think you got a fresh cut. You see, I got a fresh cut over
Yeah,
here.
I cut my own, so
Keep it
I'm
cut.
in
Yeah,
here.
I've
Yeah,
been
for
cutting it
sure.
myself during the COVID-19. I've been like, oh, okay, let me make sure. I got a little line in here too, boy.
I
Come
see it.
on
I see a
now.
little
Come
something. I
on.
see it. I
Come
see it.
on. No, but the barbershop is a place for all types of conversations, right? I mean, you can probably tell me some funny and crazy and serious and motivating in conversations that has happened with your barber or in the barbershop. And so we want to create that connection. Hey, I know my young men of color, my brothers, they like to keep a fresh cut. What if you are doing better in your academics? What if you're growing in your decision making? Hey, we want to reward you for that with a free haircut. And so I have my one partnership so far with the middle school in my hometown, and so we'll be starting that off in the fall. And so that has been exciting to actually have a partner with the school versus just young men through programs in the community. So now we'll actually have a school, so that's going to be exciting. So we're looking to grow it, and maybe one day I can have my own barbershop, Faiths and Grays Barbershop, where that's the focus. So that's actually like my dream.
Wow, okay, that would be great. I think I'm all
Yeah.
for it for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I want to talk a little bit about, since it is Mental Health Awareness Month, what are
Yeah.
some of those things that you do to, promote mental health, mental wealth, and mental health,
Yeah.
within
Yeah.
life, but also in, the lives of
Sure.
the students that you work with.
Sure. I'll start with my students. One thing that I really focus on the promotion piece. So much information is getting told to us, whether what to eat, how to eat, when to eat, what exercises to do. And it's so much information. What we call that information overload, right? Just the intoxication of all these opportunities to grow in our health and wellness. But for me, I try to just set an example for them. I try to do a thing where every morning I try to connect with this particular student that I'm working with that week, or that's in kind of my fold, and I'll FaceTime them or Skype them or Zoom them, or any type of video access that they have. I'll be like, hey, what's up? And I'm like walking on the track myself. So I try to do a lot of, when I'm in the movement, when I'm in the space of exercise or self-care, I try to connect with them in that moment. So they see like, oh yeah, Miss Krissica is serious. Like, yeah, I'm on the track. What you doing? Where you at? And so I try to be more of a model versus just lip service. Like I tell them all the time, like, hey, go work out, or hey, go do this. But if they never see Miss Krissica doing it or Miss Harper doing it, then they're like, okay, she's just running her mouth. Yeah. But when they see me, and I'm 29, they're 18, 19, like, okay, Miss Krissica get it in. She's serious. And so I try to be more so a model for them than anything else. And then for myself, I'm one of those people, I enjoy a lot of things and a lot of different things. And I tend to do 50, 60, 70 different initiatives or experiments on myself. Like, I heard this is good, so let me try to do this. I've actually scaled that down quite a bit and try to more so focus on consistency and in the small things. And not right now in this season, during this pandemic, I've been doing things in increments. Things that I try to do an hour, and for 2 hours, I've tried to scale that back a bit because it could kind of be a little overwhelming with the amount of time we have right now. So I'm kind of scaling back my workouts just a little bit and spending a little bit more time in rest right now.
So how's that transition been, being within a quarantine for right now? How's that been for you? How's it been for your work? Things like that?
Yeah. One thing that I'm working on, I'm a little blind, Morgan. One thing that I'm working on, I see. One thing I'm working on is how to transition mentally while you're in the same space. Because I'm in the house, right? So the house can feel like, okay, bedroom, kitchen, and then work, right? And when I'm off work, making sure I'm off work. Because when you're in an office, you're physically going into the office and you're physically coming back, right, home. And then when you're home, now you're off work, you're taking off your clothes or whatever. But how to transition mentally while physically being in the same space is something I'm working on. So making sure that when I'm off, making sure that I'm like wearing professional clothing versus wearing just a regular t-shirt. And then I'm just not gonna work. It's just the feel is different, right? Just getting up, fixing myself up, even though I'm at home, still being active, but not being bogged down with activity. Like, I'm not at 24-hour fitness. I'm not at Planet Fitness right now. But how can I utilize the resources that I have to still remain active? And I think that's a skill set that I believe all of us are practicing and growing. Because in this day and age, I need my dumbbells. I need a gym. Kind of luxury. But when we think about it, back in the day, I don't know what year I'm talking about or century, but they didn't have dumbbells. They didn't have Planet Fitness. And they were probably arguably more fit than we are when you think about it. So I'm working on some of those things and some of those mindsets.
For sure. So I got one more question for you before we get out of here. And it is, what is the reason that you chose Division III in particular?
Division III, I played basketball at the Division I, at the Division II, and the Division II level. Shout out to Texas Southern, my first university, and shout out to Henderson State, my alma mater. Go Reddies. And so I can say, Morgan, that I don't know what it feels like to play at the Division III level. But what I can say is I remember the transition from D1 to D2. I remember the transition of what people thought and what people said to me and how people treated me. just from the Division I to Division II. Mind you, it's still a scholarship. I still had a scholarship at the Division II level athletically. But at the Division III level, as a staff member and as an advisor, and then serving these students, I don't think much changes from Division I, Division II, Division III in terms of the mindset of capitalizing on the opportunity. A lot of people, which I don't know the percentages, but Division III, I know you're focused on athletics. You can't want to go pro. I have guys that come in my office today and say, Miss Krissica, I'm going to the NBA. And hey, I'm one person that's raising my hand like, you going where? You going to the NBA? I'm in Austin. I'm down the street from UT. It's guys at UT not going. All of them not going, right? So mentally, I'm like, ooh, I don't know about that. But number one, who am I to say that they're not? But number two, I can still empower and educate them and introduce them to the concept of opportunity. So Division III for me is opportunity. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit. I know there's different numbers in terms of student population depending on the university at the Division III level, but I know for us, you see our president all day, right? Like, I don't know at UT, I don't think the president's walking around, you can just see him and talk to him and hang out with him. There's a lot of, I believe, low-hanging fruit at the Division III level in terms of opportunity, in terms of connection. The culture is not necessarily the $50 million that the football team is bringing in. The culture is, you know what, you're here, and yes, you may have an athletic identity, but you're here and you can be successful academically. That's more of the focus. I feel more of the culture. I believe all coaches want to win no matter the level, but I believe there is a different culture in terms of maybe how they're assisting their athletes, what they're pushing them towards potentially. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think the word is opportunity to still play big, even though it's not Division I, but to still play big.
For sure. I agree completely. Well, Krissica, I appreciate you coming on, taking some time to talk with us. Definitely a pleasure.
You're welcome. All right. See you later.
All right. Take it easy.
Bye.
So that does it for another episode of the Inside D3 Show. Thank you guys again for checking in. Stay tuned for more episodes. We drop them every Wednesday on all of our platforms. Also, stay connected on all of our platforms for any stories that might drop during the week as well. And also stay locked in for the Mascot of the Week with Sam V. Rock right after this, and you do not want to miss that. So, once again, I'm Morgan Cheatham. This is the Inside D3 Show, and we are signing off.